serving up Texas' hottest original acts. The all-you-can-eat Texas Music Cafe boldly goes where commercial radio and television fear to tread. So kick up your heels for another exciting episode from the all-you-can-eat Texas Music Cafe.
Not long before man walked on the moon, two brothers anxiously awaited the birth of their newest sibling. This was Motown, and wonderful music always filled the air. The 60s were over, and the boys moved to Chicago, home of the blues, and then to Memphis, where their father taught them barbershop harmonies. Whenever relatives came to town, the family would always visit Graceland and hope for a glimpse of the man who still lived there. After Elvis passed, the family moved to Waco, Texas, a strange place unlike anywhere the boys had lived before. It was hot. People talked funny, and differing cultures rarely mingled. Oh, how the boys missed their variety in music, so they decided to form a band to create some of their own. Using the barbershop harmonies their father taught them, these young men blended Motown rhythm, Memphis and Chicago blues, and Texas twang to form their own sound.
Like a goose dancing on my TV. No one needs it just as bad as you are money. You wait to me in the end. Some strikes me as funny. So if you got some story, tell me. If you got some line that can tell me, I don't get it all. I don't get it all.
Happiness and things, and they're gonna go away. You should be happy just to be, and that you got another day. Boom, balloon, boom, 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 balloon, boom, balloon, boom, 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 balloon, balloon, boom, 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 balloon. You know they never last forever, and they're gone too soon. They never last forever, and they're gone too soon.
Their music was unique and didn't sound like anything else. They recorded their songs, but no one would play them on the radio, for radio no longer played local music. Radio only played the same songs over and over and over again.
All the radio stations stopped playing local music. We had a new record, we had new songs out, and the radio station would not play them. And everybody I knew had the same dilemma. So what we did was put it all together on one CD and bought a bunch of advertising, gave away CDs, and put that CD, got the radio station to finally start playing the Various Artists Project. And what it was a way to get 17 local bands on the radio.
It kind of helped open up a lot of roads for us as friends to local musicians, because a lot of musicians in those days, especially in Waco, were competing with each other and not working together.
The boys were now young men, and they traveled the state to share their original music. Along the way, they found many talented musicians, but no one was playing their music either. The brothers decided that musicians needed someone to help them share their music, get airplay, be heard, build an audience, and maybe even make a living doing what they love.
Kerrville had great influence on the creation of this show. We went down there as musicians to show off some of what we could do, and instead we came home just blown away by the amount of talent that was out there that was undiscovered, that the world had never heard of. And we felt like more so than the world needs some more undiscovered musicians, the world needs someone to get those musicians out there for the world to see.
I'm not satisfied with the current state of music or the music business and the way that it's run right now. I'd like to see it changed, and I think that we're put here and commissioned to do this as an integral part. The Texas Music Cafe is being an integral part of seeing that change happen.
It's interesting. We always see them from far away, the performers that is. This gives you a chance to get to know people as people first and as creative artists second. It's a unique opportunity.
I'd like to see some of the great performers that we've met and come in contact with become extremely successful and become commercially successful. And that doesn't mean getting rich and being a star, but earning a living doing what people love to do.
The brothers made the difficult decision to put aside their own musical aspirations in favor of helping other struggling artists with similar dreams.
Don't give up your day job.
Here's your job. You get up, you eat, take a shower, go to the river, listen to music, play music.
Music, music, music. It's neck deep, non-stop.
2 lessons on the accordion. And he squeaked and squeaked up there.
3 chords. Let him rock your pants off.
Yeah! Rock to some kind of a hippie rock to this country singer-songwriter thing.
That'll keep you going.
Utter geniuses. Stupid.
Jesus, John Kennedy and Elvis Presley.
Let me tell you.
It's a big deal.
Man, don't even think about changing that channel.
This smorgasbord of art and music was a bountiful table of visual and musical variety that seemed to have no end. Surely there was a place for all this great music. A place for all the innovative songwriting that just didn't fit within the confines of radio. The brothers knew that there was a bigger box, a box that was big enough to hold so much more style and musical variety, and they knew that public broadcasting was the place to be, where children played in the morning, scientists swam with whales, and unique and colorful music filled the nights. This seemed like the type of place where all the unique music could fit. So the 3 brothers gathered local musicians of all ages and from all different genres.
I met Chris when the band I was in high school was ready to make our first record. And that was 95, 96. And throughout the recording of that, he kept talking about this idea for a music television show. And we kind of thought, okay. And before we knew it, every single one of us were working on it. And we really just hit the ground running.
I met Chris and the crew when I was 16, 17 years old, 1997. I was in a band in high school. We went to the studio to record an album. Chris asked me, "Do you want a job?" I said, "Yes." He goes, "Good. Show up tonight, wear this shirt." All right.
He had this vision of creating a TV show where many would be able to see original music, and it's interesting that it just came about like almost overnight. One day I hear him talking about it, and then shortly after, he's producing a show.
They gave them important jobs and fancy titles, and together, they created their own music TV show without a host, without boundaries. They called their collective creation the all-you-can-eat Texas Music Cafe.
Serving up Texas' hottest original acts, the all-you-can-eat Texas Music Cafe. Boldly goes where commercial radio and television fear to tread. So kick up your heels for another exciting episode from the all-you-can-eat Texas Music Cafe.
Actually, the name started out as the 99-cent deep-fried, all-you-can-eat gravy-smothered Texas Music Cafe, but TV Guide refused to print it.
It doesn't cost you anymore if you in the phone book to have take up 6 lines, because that's the actual name of your show. So we started out with this gigantic name, and then we eventually practically pared it down to something that people would remember, Texas Music Cafe. But they all want to know where the restaurant was, and it's never been a restaurant.
When we first opened the doors of Texas Music Cafe here in Waco, the city inspector showed up to inspect our fryer vats. And I promised him we do not have fryer vats. This is a TV studio, and he didn't believe us, so we let him in, and he saw television cameras and mixing boards and speakers, and he was very intrigued.
The very first episode aired in September of 1997 and brought with it a breath of fresh air to PBS viewers who were eager to teach their television some new songs. PBS described the Texas Music Cafe as raw and sweaty. The show lacked polish but captured live music in its purest form. The first show featured Tejano, folk, blues, funk, soul, gospel, jazz, country, and even music that defied categorization altogether.
When I look in your eyes, sweet baby, my heart inside of me dies, sweet baby. You know I ain't talking lies, sweet baby, that I'm saving all my love for you. Got to tell you the truth, sweet baby. No more looks on my youth, sweet baby. If you don't believe the truth, sweet baby, that I'm saving all my love for you. Then there be no way for my heart to ever go back to life again. Got to believe me that I need you to bring back my heart to life again. Like that Delta land, take the seed of a hard-working man. With your love is a spring rain, bringing back my heart to life again.
I think everybody loved what they were doing, and that's what draws me to anything. It's not so much the money. I mean, yeah, the money's good. I imagine I never made a lot of money in music, but if you're not doing something you love, what's your life? What's the point of your life?
This Monday night is the very first time that this program will be a real television program. It's going to be on the air this week. On Monday night, Channel 34 KCTF will air our very first episode. Please tune in. Please tell your friends to tune in. Let them see why we're all so excited about it. We try and explain this idea to people all the time. And the people who come here and see the live shows, they're the ones who, they get it. They understand what we're doing, and they're excited too. So we want to help get that excitement going and spread it from city to city to city and watch this thing get big and enjoy as much live music as we have an excuse to.
Now he spends his days just like he's always done. He never gets the sorrow that he's hid so well from everyone. The house is empty now, kids grown up and gone. Bill slips into bed at night with Katie right by his side, and they hold on. Everybody dance around the fire tonight. You don't have to wait till it's your turn. Everybody dance a little closer to the flame tonight. Don't get burned. Everybody dance around the fire tonight. You don't have to wait till it's your turn. Everybody dance a little closer to the flame tonight, but don't get burned. Pray that you don't don't get burned. Thank you, folks.
Because there's nobody doing anything like this, what you guys are doing. It's just what makes it really unique. And I feel privileged. It just takes 1, 2, maybe 3 people, and it just kind of builds, and it's just an idea, and it turns into this beautiful thing. And that's what this is, Texas Music Cafe. One of a kind, definitely.
Everything that goes around comes around and goes around, comes around and goes around, yeah. Hey. Oh, somebody told me long time ago, you gotta breathe just once you sow. It all comes around full circle. Hey, somebody told me long time ago, you gotta breathe just once you sow. It all comes around full circle. Said it all comes back full circle. Said it all comes back full circle. Yes, it will. You know it will. Everything that goes around, everything that goes around, everything that goes around comes around again. Everything that goes around comes around. Oh, you know it will. Ain't no doubt about it, y'all now. You know it will, you know it will, you know it will. The secret to life is knowing when to compromise. I learned it late, but I'm here to tell.
A lot of the artists that came through Texas Music Cafe were a joy to record. Some of those have gone on and built upon the TV airplay and the audiences that we helped them build. We played a teeny tiny part in their success, but even that little tiny part, I'm so proud to have been a part of that.
I've been doing television for quite some time now and watch a lot of production stuff being done. And one of the neat things I can say personally about this project was when I first looked at the tape, actually I got to look at it earlier today, it was the first time I got a chance to look at it. When you ever look at a pilot show, the first one out of the gate is usually the one that's a little bit weak, and this is a strong show. And I just am amazed at this already.
Serving up Texas' hottest original acts, the all-you-can-eat Texas Music Cafe features a full buffet of all styles of Texas' best homegrown music. From established acts to unknown prodigies, the Texas Music Cafe boldly goes where commercial radio and television fear to tread. So kick up your heels for another exciting smorgasbord from the all-you-can-eat Texas Music Cafe.
There's 1,000 reasons why we could have said we're not going to do this, or we can't do this, or we don't have the money. We just did it anyway. You do what you can with what you got.
We had a very small turnaround time when it came to production. Usually, as far as editing the show and creating the version that you would see aired, it was started typically 4 days before it actually went out.
We had this big press party that we put together. We had people from all across the state come in, and the show literally was not completed until minutes before the show actually aired.
They would be working all day in preparation for the show, and musicians would arrive. They would give them a tour and kind of put them at ease and talk about the expectations of what would be happening. Then we would all go to dinner, and that was really fun. That's probably one of my favorite parts because it was just a relaxing time to kind of get to know each other and the musicians themselves.
And to see the show actually out there airing was pretty satisfying.
Word spread quickly, and more musicians of all styles came from all over. Most were unknown, but some were already famous. Even legendary Texas artists saw the importance of the work the brothers and their crew of musicians were doing, so they too lent a hand to help the brothers with their mission of helping struggling, undiscovered, and independent acts.
When we put out these small acts that are next to the big acts out in the public in places that you normally wouldn't see, that you can kind of compare and say, hey, these guys are pretty good too, and I've never heard of them.
Texas Music Cafe became a forum where well-known Texas legends appeared side by side, one after another, right next to unknown artists.
Put about 20 Waco artists on national television now. So giving these people a break that they wouldn't get anywhere else.
Isn't Billy Joe Shaver from around Waco?
Billy Joe Shaver. As a matter of fact, Shaver was supposed to be out here tonight. He said, I'm going to go talk to Willie. I'm going to tell him that he needs to go talk to you guys. We taped him last week.
Good. Yeah.
And Shaver's just incredible.
We did
Born
an
and raised in
album
Waco,
together,
Texas.
we did an album together several years ago. It never did come out, and now it's coming out. It's doing all Billy Joe songs, and it's me and Chris and Waylon and Billy Joe.
Well, Chris, who's like a songwriter, did a whole album of his stuff.
Yeah, Waylon did a whole album of Billy Joe too.
And I mean, just a wonderful, down-to-earth guy.
Yeah.
And just great to meet him and interview him and get a chance to talk to him. But we're doing the show, and I mean, inside of 2 years, we're three brothers that we're performing songwriters. We quit our jobs to pursue our dream, and I mean, odds were 1,000-to-1 that we would even get a second season. While we're taping the fourth season now.
Man has been to the moon, done about all a man can do, but a woman is the wonder of the world. From her head to her toe, man ain't thought what she don't know. Yes, a woman is the wonder of the world. Woman is the wonder of the world. She may be a high society, but it's the good old-fashioned girl. When she was made, she put a shade on Mother Nature's pearl. She ain't much, she's just the wonder of the world. Woman is the wonder of the world. She may be a high society, but it's the good old-fashioned girl. When she was made, she put a shade on Mother Nature's pearl. Yes, a woman is the wonder of the world. Amen, amen.
Well, musically speaking, Central Texas has something for everyone, no matter your musical preference.
That's true, Bruce. The only problem you may come up against is a musical bill so diverse. You may find it hard to choose. That's why this week we leave the searching to our Brett Olchen. He begins his week-long series, That Texas Music, by paying a visit to Waco's own Texas Music Cafe. Here's their story.
Meet the Omorians, Chris, Jeff, and TJ. Three brothers with one dream.
Texas Music Cafe is an opportunity for talented original musicians to play their music for a much larger audience, nationally and now internationally. And people from Waco and Central Texas can come in and watch this show for $5. They can see acts that they probably never get to see anywhere else.
With the Texas Music Cafe in the middle of taping its 4th season, the program is still in its infancy. But the concept dates back more than 10 years, where the brothers dreamed of creating an alternative form of exposure for talented yet unknown artists.
If an artist plays every single night, 365 days a year in front of 1,000 people, that's still 365,000 people total that are going to see them in a year. And with one airing in the Texas Music Cafe, they can be seen by 50 million people in 3 minutes.
Now, each week the momentum continues to grow, but getting started was nothing less than a leap of faith.
When Chris started telling people that we're going to do the show, he didn't even own a television camera. And everything that we need has just kind of come to us.
It wasn't just equipment, they also needed a staff. Once again, out of the Amorian perseverance and faith appeared another blessing.
What's nice is that that we have a staff that is so dedicated, that is so professional, and that shares a common vision with us and helps us to pursue that. They're after the exact same things out of it that we are after.
None of us got into this for money in the first place. We got in this because we love what we do, and I certainly hope we never forget where we came from and where we started. That was the original vision, and the part B of that vision was that if it ever becomes about us or about money, it's going to end.
It always surprised me. I look back and think, you started a national TV show like in a month's time or less.
We ran into one of the PBS executives that saw our show playing on a tape loop, and he said, if you get me a dozen stations that say that they'll air this, I'll give you a national satellite uplink. And I think we probably took us less than a week to get those signatures for those stations.
More and more TV stations signed on, and TMC's signal grew stronger until they covered the whole country. Even the U.S. military shared Texas Music Cafe across the globe in 150 countries, with soldiers that were missing their homes, families, and all the regional flavors of music that they couldn't find abroad.
We were so close to it that I don't think we realized the scale of it, or thought about who was paying attention to it or who was actually watching it. But we just knew it was something special. We knew it was something that nobody else was doing, at least not on the level that we were, with mostly unknown acts.
So they found a golden rule, and now we'll be swell. You might be cool, yeah, we all wanna be out. So take me back to Mississippi, leave my Texas roots behind. On time, God, yes, he is. Ooh, oh, on time.
Season 5 begins, and the Waco Hippodrome opens its doors to Texas Music Cafe so we could welcome even more people to our weekly live tapings. Musicians came to Waco from as far away as Los Angeles, Germany, Ireland, and Armenia to share the music they had worked so hard to create and meet the brothers, as well as the community of artists and musicians of every kind that worked together to make the TMC a beautiful thing. The floodgates were open, and radio stations once again began to see the importance of local and regional artists, so even they began to play local music. Local music venues stopped asking for the same old songs to be played and began to appreciate new songs from artists they had once ignored or otherwise looked over. Original, handcrafted music now had more value and wider audiences than ever before, and people who experienced the joy of live music began to feel the transformative power of it in the air, on TV, and in public. Audiences were moved. Some wrote letters to the TMC family, and some even quit their day jobs and moved to Waco to join in on what the brothers and crew had created, and they were always accepted with open arms.
And to me, everybody looked like they were enjoying what they were doing. And I appreciated that. I really did. So I felt like a part of the team.
As the show grew, more people continued to come, and the burdens became heavy upon the shoulders of all those involved. The crew was tired. They had worked day and night for so long without pay, and their families suffered and sacrificed along with them.
The Texas Music Cafe was definitely a sacrifice for many people, not just Chris, but for all the people involved. But at the end of the day, it takes dedication and work like that to make something as wonderful as it turned out to be. So it was worth it.
These artists had earned their stripes and had become the very best at what they do by giving a piece of themselves to every performer that had appeared on the Texas Music Cafe screen.
Editing for Texas Music Cafe has inspired me even further to advance my knowledge in editing and use it in other places and hopefully get other things, other types of gigs to edit, because I really like editing, which is not something I thought I'd ever say.
These humble local musicians had become world-class producers, technicians, and artists with a resume that couldn't be matched.
Having the show to kind of like learn on, the faking it really didn't take that long before I made it. And it's kind of one of those things, I kind of like to think that I can be thrown into pretty much any technical situation and have it working within 10 or 15 minutes and have something going.
That's where I learned how to do stuff for other people. And I feel like that was a great environment to do that because it was really kind of low pressure, but I still had to deliver, what the client wanted at the end of it all. So that was a huge learning experience there, just to learn how to, go through the process, not for my own desire, but to please somebody paying me to do the work,
We never missed a deadline, and the show was always delivered on time, no matter what obstacles stood in our way. The TMC had become an international success, but not a financial one.
One of the jobs I was tasked with is to kind of be the business manager with the show and selling sponsorships. And we had a lot of people come in there, and PBS, it's not like selling TV commercials. The sponsors just have to have a passion for what we do.
This show that you saw, we did with basically no budget. And to what, at least in television standards, this was less than a shoestring. And given a budget, it would be unbelievable what we could do. The people that are here, for the most part, have donated their time. We all do it because it feels good too, because we know we're doing the right thing. But the people that are here that have made this show happen have done it because we love it, because we're musicians at heart, because we want to help and we want to change Waco and we want to change the music industry.
Now seasoned professionals, the crew deserved to be paid for what they had created. They had earned the respect of their television and musical peers, but soon discovered that when real art pushes boundaries, it's often difficult to sell, and its impact is rarely appreciated until after it's gone. What they had created out of love, respect, and appreciation was now doomed to collapse under the weight of the immense workload, lack of financial resources, and the eventual loss of national PBS distribution.
That headline was probably like what really solidified the end of that era.
I feel like the Texas Music Cafe may have been a little ahead of its time as far as it being accepted globally or even in our town.
The brothers had vowed to never allow the pursuit of the TMC's mission to tear them apart as family. So they went their separate ways, heartbroken, spiritually, and financially spent.
My brothers were influencers on me in so many areas. They were big brothers, you know. I looked up to them in everything that they did, and they seemed to be better than me at everything that they did. And I couldn't have done what I have been able to accomplish without their help.
Looking back, I do not regret the experience. I use what I learned from that on a daily basis. I feel very lucky and blessed to have had that experience.
The music stopped. Most of the local musicians had to revert back to playing the same 40 songs over and over and over again.
There were still a couple bands doing live original music that pulled a pretty good following in town, but for the majority of it, it was all $2 picture night at your favorite bar, and how many top 40 songs can the band play?
The appreciation for original, handcrafted music seemed all but forgotten with the loss of the show.
This is sad to say, but once upon a time, Waco was the birthplace of something really big. It might have helped to improve the reputation of the city by giving it something to be proud of and to help it become known for great, talented musicians and wonderful, reasonably priced live and televised entertainment. I miss my TMC. Sheila S. Sparks.
One season passes without a single show being produced.
A good friend of mine, a guy named Stuart Ramser that runs Texas Music Magazine, called me and said, I got a friend that I want to introduce you to, and his name is Dr. Gary Hartman. He runs the Center for Texas Music History in San Marcos. And I didn't even know that there was a 4-year degree in Texas music history, but there is. And the guy who started that program and made it all work wanted to meet with me. And his first question was, why did you not turn out a new season? And I said, well, let's see. I am tired, and I am beaten down, and I am broke and exhausted, and I just didn't think I could continue. He said, it's really important that you keep doing it because nobody is recording the stuff that you're recording. And I said, and I didn't really know Gary, and I said, hey, buddy, if it's that important to you, then you can help pay for this next season. And he said, okay, let's do it. And just like that, we're off again.
Glad you could join us for this episode of the Texas Music Cafe as we celebrate the rich and diverse musical traditions of the Lone Star State. As always, our goal is to bring you the best music that Texas has to offer and to share with you some of the history behind that music. We hope you've had a good time, and we look forward to seeing you again as we sample the many wonderful flavors of Texas music right here on the Texas Music Cafe.
Dr. Gary Hartman is well connected and a friend to all Texas musicians. With Dr. Hartman's involvement, Texas Music Cafe reaches dizzying new heights and does more shooting with bigger artists than ever before.
Too many pain pills, too much pot, trying to be something that I'm not. Superman, Superman, trying to do more than I can, got a little out of hand, I ain't Superman. I blew my throat and I blew my tour, I wound up sipping on soup du jour, I wasn't Superman. Superman. Trying to do more than I can, got a little out of hand, I ain't Superman. The doctor said, son, it's a crying shame, but you ain't Clark Kent and I ain't Lois Lane, you ain't Superman. You ain't Superman. Trying to do more than you can, got a little out of hand, I ain't Superman. And When I die, put it on my stone. God said, sucker, get your bad ass home. You wasn't Superman. You wasn't Superman. Trying to do more than I can. Got a little out of hand. I ain't Superman.
TMC hits the road and travels to the finest venues in Texas and beyond to record, such as Green Hall, the Paramount, the Saxon Pub, Cheatham Street Warehouse, the Austin Music Hall, among many more.
I've beaten you so out of tune, and in return you made my fingers bleed. But before I lay you down to rest, you'll prove again you are the best by bringing out the very best in me. So let's play another song. Let's drag it on too long. And bring a tear again to my eye. You can't make me wanna stop. You're the only friend I've got, and you'll never have to hear me say goodbye. So let's play another song. Let's drag it on too long. Bring a tear again to my eye. You can't make me wanna stop. You're the only friend I've got, and you'll never have to hear me say goodbye.
Season 7 reaches new plateaus, and the technical quality takes another huge leap forward with the last-minute addition of a new crew member. For the first time ever, we even leave Texas.
I got to be on stage in the back, looking out in the same direction that Robert Earl Keen was playing. It was awesome. Again, it was just awesome. And it's an experience that I guess I always wanted that and didn't realize it till I got the chance to do it.
Second time, they got a good job with the union, and it's keeping them in line. He came to Corpus just this weekend. Now it's good to see him here. He said he finally gave up drinking.
I'm a real music enthusiast, and yes, I feel like I'm part of the group. I feel like I'm part of what's going on, and my job is to, or my passion really is to do the best job I can to make everybody that my camera's pointing at look good.
Everybody took their job so seriously. Everybody was 100% dedicated to quality in whatever position they happened to be in, whether it was running a camera or doing audio or checking lights or sweeping the floor or editing or mixing or anything. Anything that anybody does, they do it with their full attention and with their whole heart. And that's, I think it really stems from having that universal language of music in the middle of that.
A visit to Central Texas PBS affiliate KNCT leads to a meeting with fellow music fan and program director Steve Banger, and begins a new and promising partnership. Banger agrees to help distribute Texas Music Cafe locally and nationally again as the show's official presenting station. Season 7 progresses and wins 2 Telly Awards and garners great reviews.
You came to my office back in November of last year, asking me to put this show, Texas Music Cafe, on the air. And I took a look at it, and I'm a huge music fan myself, and saw that it was a great opportunity to showcase up-and-coming artists and giving them a venue to have exposure. And I've never met anybody more dedicated to that than you and the rest of your crew, and I just want to present you with this Telly Award.
During the last taping of Texas Music Cafe's 7th season, Texas State Technical College attends and approaches Chris about aligning with the show and bringing music to all of the campuses across the state. TSTC asks Chris to help bring about a sense of fun and community by conducting a statewide talent search for new artists. The talent search produces an amazing wealth of undiscovered talent. YouTube views of the contestants exceed 47,000 web views in just 3 months.
Welcome to the place where it all begins. Where the drinks are free, we all bring to be someone we're not. Welcome to the place where it all begins. Where the drinks are free, we all pretend to be someone we're not. We can have some fun, we can play all night. I will do this you. Games are back, it's only for tonight. Drop. Thank you.
Texas Music Cafe's first-generation crew are still the anchors that moor the show. Musically speaking, they are direct descendants of the Ermoyan brothers and the initial TMC vision.
The first people we met were the Ermoyan brothers, and I loved their songs, as simple as they were. To me, they felt like a sort of post-punk outfit, which really appealed to me.
Working with Chris and his brothers with the TV show, and watching them play and listening to the stuff that they had written, and it just kind of cemented and I was like, all right, I'm never playing anybody else's song again.
One of our favorite old songs from the era of the Ermoyan Brothers band was called I Don't Get It, and our current band, Dirty Echoes, has sort of resurrected it and adopted it as our own.
It's a real fun pop punk tune with a lot of energy. It really complements what the song that we're writing right now as a band. It complements well. It's just really fun live. Everybody gets a kick out of it. And we hope you like it.
I don't get it, I don't get it all, I don't get it all. Signs are posted in my car, and everywhere I go. Some baby tune the songs playing on my radio. I wonder how we find this space. It's just a place to take the news. The teenagers you feel like who sells revenues. So if you got some story you're telling me, if you got some lie that you said to me, I don't get it, I don't get it, oh, I don't get it at all. so long I don't smell right. I've got old cars. My life's a bitch cause I don't use all the products of the stars. For all the values they exchange, for all the past that you took, the stone soul's giving way to this bold new fashion look. You won't sell me my personality by denying my singularity. I don't get it, I don't get it, oh, I don't get it at all.
Just as important as those who dedicate their lives to creating great music are those like you who love it. For without you, the adventurous and open-minded listener, none of it would exist, or indeed even be possible. In today's modern world where attention spans are fleeting and the immediacy of success is often expected overnight, it's difficult to imagine the likelihood of discovering hidden treasures like Willie Nelson, Billy Joe Shaver, Guy Forsyth, Slade Cleaves, Monty Montgomery, or Ruthie Foster.
The coolest part for me is definitely seeing the success of other people, not just the musicians that we've worked with, but the crew members that have come through TMC. I couldn't be more proud of the musicians, the technicians, the lighting people, the makeup people, the sound recording artists, you name it. We've had over 100 local artists that have worked on TMC since its beginning.
He loves the musicians and he loves the music so much. He would do this for free. He has done this for free. He's done it probably losing money for a lot of years because he loves to do it.
But at the end of the day, it's never really been about Chris, and he's never made it about him, and it's always been about the relationships and the other people and what he can give back, and seeing musicians who have so much talent to share with the world, being able to allow them to share that with everybody. And that's been a gift that he has, to be able to relate to everyone and let them share their best.
If it wasn't for all of that, there wouldn't have been a next step for me. I would have gotten out of school and tried to figure out how to work a normal job probably. But since I was able to gain skills working with all kinds of different artists and different musical people, and it kind of made me really adaptable.
With the kind of show it was, it certainly had the propensity to attract various oddballs and misfits of all different kinds, and typically those are creative people or musicians. And out of those that stuck around, I think we all formed a bond, became very good friends, and still are to this day.
I've known everybody that I work with, except for maybe a couple, for 20 years. I grew up with the crew.
Just getting to meet those people and be there and see the crowd and be part of making it happen has been a privilege to me.
I haven't had a gig yet that I could say I didn't enjoy and didn't like. I liked every bit of it.
Good life lessons, good and bad life lessons. So it's definitely not for the money. It's always been about the people.
Everybody just seems to really deal in this camaraderie that we all have, because we have this love of music and love for the idea of promoting music that nobody else will.
I love the vision of the Texas Music Cafe because it's great music and it's all you can eat.
The people that came along hoping for fame and fortune usually didn't find it. The people that came here to help other people and to do a good job and to find a family of other people that were like themselves and like-minded, those people have all become successful.
Musical trends will constantly ebb and flow, but originality will never go out of style. Texas Music Cafe is proud to have always celebrated talent and musicality over the good looks and sizzle of mainstream mass-consumed music. Original music lives on today as Texas Music Cafe comes full circle and celebrates 20 years of rising stars and Lone Star legends. It has truly been our honor to have played but a modest role in participating in the success of so many musically creative souls. As we continue, ever forward, to boldly go where commercial television and radio fear to tread.
1, 2, 3. All you need, Texas Music Cafe. Eat your music, it's there for you. Give yourselves a hand.
My true friends, my true friends, my true friends, my true friends. Faces in the crowd may fade, memories of a masquerade. Champagne was real enough for less than two. All ambition turns to rain, confidence has proved in vain. Nothing does as promised it will do. But true friends, my true friends, my true friends, my true friends. And though you're far away from me, each and every day I see pictures of you along my way. You're the one I'll be returning to when all the roses burning and the moon is sinking in the bay. All your dreams mislaid, blow away yesterday. Your memories betray, blow away, blow away. Breathe and blow away yesterday. Da do 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 do.